The opinions expressed on this program represent the viewpoints of individual authors or contributors and do not necessarily reflect those of Troy University.
Welcome to International Insights. I am Doug Davis, and with me is Michael Slobodchikoff. On this episode, we will be speaking with Marco Aluigi. Mr. Aluigi holds a degree in classic literature from the University of Bologna. Since 2000, he has worked for the Meeting for Friendship Among Peoples in Rimini, Italy, where he is a deputy director and congress manager. The Meeting in Rimini is an annual cultural event on the Adriatic coast featuring speakers from all over the world discussing a vast variety of topics. Mr. Aluigi, welcome to the program from Rimini.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It is an honor to have you on our program. Your background is in the classics. You studied both the Greek and Latin languages and literature. How did this lead you to develop the Meeting?
I studied Greek and Latin in Bologna, language and literature, and this classical education gave me something invaluable, a particular forma mentis, a way of thinking and reasoning that really shaped how I understand the world. When you study classical languages, as Greek and Latin, you are not just learning vocabulary or a grammar, but you are encountering the very structure of thought that founded Western cultural tradition, first in its secular philosophical dimension, and then in its Christian development. The way these languages construct sentences, the way that build arguments, the precision they demand, this trains your mind in a very distinct way. This background has been essential for my work at the Meeting. Yes, essential maybe, but very important, because fundamentally the Meeting is about dialogue across culture, understanding different perspectives while keeping clear what really matters most. The classical tradition taught me to look for what is universally human beneath different expression and different languages. And this is exactly what we try to do at the Meeting when we bring together people from diverse backgrounds to address the deepest questions of human existence.
Excellent, excellent. Marco, what is the origin of the Meeting in Rimini, and what role does it play in Italian culture?
Oh, the Meeting for Friendship Amongst Peoples, that its very name in Italian sounds like Meeting per Amicizia tra i Popoli, aka Rimini Meeting now, was born in 1980 from the initiative, from an idea of a group of friends inspired by Father Luigi Giussani and the movement, the Catholic movement of communion and liberation. This kind of friends belong to this kind of experience, Catholic experience. And from the very beginning, it was conceived as a space, better a place of encounter where people could meet different perspectives on life's fundamental questions about meaning, about beauty, justice, happiness, and truth. Over these 46 years, because the next edition in the forthcoming August into 2026, the Meeting has taken on an increasingly important role in Italian and European culture. The Meeting is placed in the fourth week of August, and it marks the official resumption of public, political, economic, and civil life in Italy and Europe. It became a unique place where ideas, challenge, and debate are shared, not a showcase where people come just to be noticed, but a genuine meeting place. What makes the meeting special, it's that it's organized by a foundation before an association, together with about 3,000 volunteers, young people and adults who are really the beating heart of the event. We try to remain faithful to what I believe is our founding ideal, our founding purpose and mission, creating bonds of sincere friendship among people and among peoples, recognizing that the human heart everywhere is marked by the same question, the question that I said before. And today, the meeting is probably the only popular event of this scale that has preserved this character, this commitment to addressing what is most deeply human in all of us.
Fantastic. As you plan the meeting, how do you come up with the themes and the speakers and the presenters, as well as the exhibits?
Well, it's a difficult question because every edition of the Rimini Meeting has different and defined themes. The process of choosing each year's theme is quite empirical and quite challenging. It's closely connect to what's happening in the world during the year, because 1 year is the time we need to organize one edition to another edition, and in general to what emerged from the current edition of the meeting, and to an ongoing reflection on humanity and on our desire for happiness and self-understanding. We then, starting from the theme we choose, select speakers on the basis of the themes we want to develop, and some topics that are recurring for us are dialogue and peace, the Holy Land, science, the study of the universe, health, economics and the human person, politics and international scenarios, literature, art, and the human condition. The selection process has multiple sources. Our programming committee, our steering committee that we call Redazione, study and purpose ideas, but there are also the fact that many speakers and topics come from people who approach us with proposal, but also from speakers that from previous years who have formed friendship with us, actively involve themselves and contribute. So the Meeting for Friendship become a real friendship that can bring other ideas to invite, invitation, and so on. And this is another distinct feature of the meeting. Like our volunteers and our public, speakers come back year after year. Because after their first time, they discovered that the meeting is not just an interesting appointment, but a possibility, an attempt to build something good and beautiful for themselves and for the rest of the world. The friendships that are born are not professional convenience, but they are real human relationships. And this relationship become one of the pillars of what makes the meeting work. The exhibition are chosen with the same direction, with the same attempt, and this is more or less the process with which try to do the meeting every year.
Excellent. When I attended the meeting many years ago, there were countless panels. Some featured European heads of state, and one interesting panel saw Cardinal Erdo from Budapest and the Metropolitan Archbishop Kirill from Moscow respond to a question by Dostoevsky, is it possible for people to have faith today? There are panels on classical philosophy that were attended by massive numbers of youth. It was a unique event. How do you make this event attractive to people from every walk of life?
I think that first of all, we try with our meeting to refuse superficiality. We reject the banalization that has become typical of much mainstream communication and languages and so on. Of course, we don't pretend to have simple answer to very complex problem, but our intention, our purpose, our aim is to pose the right questions, question that when addressed to the entire community can become an horizon and a meaningful direction for new processes and new challenges. And I think that the art of this, the art of the meeting, is the testimony, the witness, a language that comes from lived experience, a life lived fully, a profession loved, a science studied and applied, and yes, also a religious life, but also a lay life. And these testimonies serve the encounter with thousands and thousands of young people and not so young people. I think this is the reason for which you, more than 10 years ago, saw young people that follow classical, an encounter of classical philosophy, because at the end they can encounter, they can meet responses to the question that they are actually asking about their own lives. And yes, so it's what we are trying to do also with the Cardinal Erdo and Patriarch Kirill, and with the very important question of Dostoevsky, it's possible to have faith today, yes.
Fantastic. Your role is to invite guests and as well as to manage and sustain relations with speakers and dignitaries of different political, cultural, and religious backgrounds. What are some of the main challenges you encounter, and what are the best aspects of your job?
Thank you for this question. It is not so easy to try to answer in a few minutes because it concentrates the meaning of my work. But I can say that the greatest challenge with inviting international figures or speakers, national, international, from different fields of the human culture. The most difficult things is to try to explain what the meeting really is, and for them, for the speakers to understand what the meeting is, in sense that, I mean that we don't have a real model of comparison. Some people can associate the meeting with the Frankfurt Book Fair, Buchmesse, or other large cultural gathering, and even if we try to do our best with the invitation letter and institutional or not institutional documentation, in many cases is not enough. So to try to overcome these difficulties, we try, when it's possible, to meet before the speaker in person, but if it's not possible, also for the distance and for other reason, we try to obtain the help of other people that participated at the meeting and that evaluated in a very good sense the aim, the purpose on the meeting. And so we ask them to support our invitation with an endorsement and also with the diplomatic and institutional channels. And also there is another very strong challenge is the fact that for our policy, because the Meeting for Friendship Among People is a foundation, is a no-profit foundation. So for our policy, we can't afford we can't give any fee to our speakers. In many cases, for the speakers, it's their work. So it's a sort of beautiful bet on each other, in the sense that we can offer, of course, the organization and the cover cost of their travel and lodging, and the credibility and the experience of the meeting. And if they, if for them is the first time to come to the meeting, they have to try that this experience could be interesting for them. So this is more or less what we do. But one of the things that I think is very important to underline is the fact that from this meeting that happened during our event, really true stories of friendship were born during all the years of our event, and continues year after year, and it becomes the real strong relationship that can give the strength to the meeting to remain so meaningful for the volunteers, for the public that usually attend, and for the speakers too.
Excellent. So the meeting has now spread to other locations. How did the meeting grow and move to Spain, New York, and even Cairo?
Yes, the meeting, there are a lot of events that are inspired by the Rimini Meeting, by the Meeting for Friendship Amongst People, even if they are not in any case controlled by us. They are group of different people that look at the meeting as an important experience to try to bring in their own countries, as in Spain with the meeting Encuentro, or other event most recently in Barcelona, or you mentioned Cairo. We did together in 2010 this beautiful experience of meeting Cairo, when we brought the experience of the Rimini Meeting in the capital of Egypt, using more than using, together with our friend Professor Wael Farouk, that is now is the director of Arabic languages in Catholic University in Milan, and with him we brought signs of similar to the meeting in Rimini Cairo, with volunteers, with the exhibition, with performances, with encounters, and so on. For me, the foreign event inspired by the meeting that I have more in my art is the New York Encounter. And New York Encounter, I think it will be the 15th, I think, edition the next February. Was every year a 3-day gathering that will be held in New York, in Manhattan, with the same ingredients that we have at the meeting. So I have very strong relation of friendship with the organizer, and in many cases we shared common speakers, themes, ideas, exhibition, and so on. So it's a mutual sort of collaboration.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We are beginning Advent, and the world is preparing for Christmas. Italian culture has its own Christmas traditions. How has the Italian people's perception of the meaning of this holiday changed as Italy has become more secular and multi-ethnic?
Oh, I think that the Advent and the Christmas season, the Christmas holiday remain, despite the changing of the Italy society, a fundamental time in Italy. You can feel an anticipation in the air, waiting for something that must happen, for someone expected, who must finally arrive, for someone who can finally respond to that question of peace, meaning, fulfillment that everyone is searching for. It's true that Italy is changing, but the message of joy and the hope of change brought by a defenseless child remained the key that animates the day before we celebrate with our families. I think that at the end, maybe we don't have more the full awareness and real significance of this birth, and so we need to rediscover the meaning of the birth of this child, but it's remaining deeply at the heart of families and of the life of our countries. So I think that the message that the Jesus child bring to the world, even with his vulnerability as a child, this kind of message still resonates in Italian culture, even as the culture changed, because it speaks to something unchanging in the human heart.
Excellent, excellent. Italy is very different today than it was in 1980 when the meeting was started. How has the meeting changed over the years to remain relevant to the culture of our times? And how do you see the meeting going forward?
Yes, the meeting has changed in a very enormous way over these 46 years, but it also preserved the characteristics and the DNA with the group of founding friends invented in the late 1970s. So it changed because the time we are living have changed. Just at the end of 80, the Berlin Wall fell. East and West Europe reunited. Technology has taken giant steps. We always, every day, we speak, and you too, about artificial intelligence and so on. The global situation has changed dramatically, but the meeting, in some ways, is remain the same, because also the word is also very similar to the period in which the meeting was born. There are a lot of people that have taken the power, or that have more power than others, and now, unfortunately, sad war is devastating Europe after more than 70 years of peace, no, in Ukraine, because of the invasion of Russia. So I think that the meeting remain profoundly itself, because in all these more than 40 years, it has tried to follow without giving up the work that Pope St. John Paul II left as his legacy and as a task. If I may, I can read just the final words of his speech at the Rimini Meeting when he went in 1982. And he said, "Man today is strongly committed to reforming his relationship with the world around him, with science and technology. He wants to discover ever new resources for his life and for coexistence among people. He tends to implement a process that everyone would like to be peaceful and to exalt art as an expression of his free creativity. Despite this, peace today is gravely threatened. Science and technology risk generating an imbalance loaded with negative consequences in the relationship between man and man, between man and nature, between nation and nation. From this contradiction, which seems unstoppable because it's structurally connected to the mystery of evil, our gaze must turn to the artisan of our salvation, to generate a civilization that is born from truth and love, the civilization of love, so as not to agonize, not to extinguish itself in unbridled selfishness, in blind insensitivity to the suffering of others. Brothers and sisters, build this civilization without ever tiring. This is the task I leave you today. Work for this, pray for this, suffer for this. And the meeting has tried, end of the speech of the St. John the Second, the meeting has tried to do this, and we are continuing to do this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm afraid we're out of time, but I want to wish you from all of us a very Merry Christmas, and want to thank you for sharing your experience and your wealth of knowledge with us today. It's been truly a pleasure for us and an honor to have you on this show.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you. And if it's possible for you, I invite you all to visit our next Rimini meeting from 21 to 26, The Loves Which Moves the Sun and the Other Stars. Thank you.
Thank you.